we are going to be talking about chapter 7, which is modules and packages. In the previous chapter we talked about classes and objects. So a module is just like a library, a code library, a file containing Python functions, classes, variables, and any other thing that one actually wants to include in one's application. So we're going to be going to our VS Code to show how to create a model and how to use a model. A module, sorry. So then I would go to my VS Code to create a module. So I'm coming here inside this place. I'm going to create a file called my module.py. Then I would come here and say, passing a function called my function, right? My fun, then passing a parenthesis, the way we would normally write our function, and come here and say print. So I would want to pass in a parameter here. I would say name. I'll also say game. Then I would come here and say hello. Name. Or I would pass in my, to make it neater, I'll use my f string like I usually do, and I'll pass it inside curly braces. I would say here hello name inside my curly braces, name, hello name, I play game. So I'm going to pass in game here and save it. So then I've created what? I've created a module, right? So I have a module here. I have a function here inside a file. So I will then come here again and then create another file, call it main.py. You can choose to call it anything that you want to call it. So I will then say import my module. So I'm going to import what? My module. Then I would come here and say my module. Inside here I have here as my what? A function name, my function. So I would come here and say dot my function. Then I would pass in, like I've already given parameters. If you see now, it's actually telling us that this function accepts name and accepts what? Game. So I'm going to now say here in parentheses, sorry, in quotes, blessing, comma, inside my parentheses and in quotes, blessing, comma, volleyball. So then I save, and when I come here I say py, because I'm assessing what I have inside my module.py. I'm trying to access it inside my main.py. So the file I'm actually going to run here is my main.py. So I'm going to come here and say, let me reassign this guy. So I'll come here and say py main. Okay, I have here, because I have this inside the file, I'm still going to call this guy cd. Let me cd inside it, python 2, right? If you're familiar with our directory, I'm going to cd inside it. So I'll then say py main. Okay, then I'll run it. Are you seeing this? It's showing me what I have inside this guy, and I'm completing it here. I have a module, I have a set of function, is a set of written code called function inside the module I created, then I'm calling it here, passing in a value or assignment to the parameter I already assigned inside my created modules. So this is what I have. Hello blessing, I play what? I play volleyball. So you can still make other examples. Let me say I can still make other examples. I can have here, I can still come here and assign we talked about dictionaries, right? I can say my dictionary, or use my dict equal to passing. You know how we represent dictionaries when I talked about collections of pythons, right? So I would come here and say in string inside a quote brand, the brand should be Lexus. I'll call a Lexus car. Then I would say okay, year, I'll call in the year. The year should be 2016. So this is how a dictionary looks like. So I can now come to my main.py and say import module. Then I can come here and say module dot what, because what I'm having here again is no longer a function but what, it's now a dictionary. So I now say module dot my dict, right? Then I can be able to access, if I want to remember when we talked about diction, they are ordered and they are changeable, but they are not indexed, like they are unindexed. So if I want to access this guy, I will then put brand inside here using our put it inside the quote, right? So I'm going to access my brand, right? I'm going to pass it inside this block bracket to be able to access what I have, the value I have as a brand. So I'm going to save this guy and then say I can come here and choose to, because I don't have anything here, and choose to do this here and then say print what, print X, or I can print it directly. So then I come here and run my code. So are you seeing we are getting what, the brand as what, as Lexus. So this is how we create modules and then implement modules in what, in Python. So we can also rename modules if we want. Instead of typing this guy as this name very long like this, I can assign as here and put X. Then I would come here and say then X, I can come here and say X dot this. I can print this guy directly, right? And say print in brackets, I'll close it too and save it. Then come here and run it, right? I'm getting Lexus again. If you check it, you're going to see Lexus inside there. So we can actually rename the name of the file we have. We import it and then we can now rename it if we want. So we can still import like individually what we have in our module. Let me say I have plenty things just like I had before. Let me say I do this, I copy this guy and then I do this. I still have what I had before inside here. Then I have this guy here too. I have this example here too. So I can actually try to pick individually what I have inside my module. So then I would come here and say import. I'll take away this guy. I'll say import. I'll say from my module, right? Import. I'm no longer importing generally the file, right? I'm trying to import the individual statement or anything I actually a particular thing I mentioned in that particular model. So I'm going to say import. Here I have my dictionary and I have a function passed here, right? I can say import my func or import my dictionary. I'll now say import what? My func. Hope I have it right here. Or let me save this guy here first. Okay. Okay, let me my dictionary. Import my dictionary, right? My dictionary. Okay, I have my dictionary here. Then I would now make use of that particular my dictionary. So I will then say print. Instead of now calling, so I will no longer call this thing. I wouldn't call the module the name again. I'll just pass in my dictionary direct, my dictionary, right? And then I would then try to access my dictionary. Then I would say age inside here. Age. Am I not having the correct? Okay, so this is my dictionary. Oh, sorry, I do not have. I was trying to assess where my error is coming from. You remember I said from my. I should have written import here. So this is the error I'm having. I was actually having the challenge. So writing my func here is still what I have as my function, right? Is it my function? Okay, my phone here is still right. So I'm going to still say the same thing. Print. I would come here and say print my phone, then I'll assign values to it, right? I'll then say Joanne, Joanne, comma, comma, basketball, basketball. Then I save it, and then if I come to this guy and run my python manage.py, are you seeing what we have? So I don't need this print here because I'm already printing it in the other side. So then I close it, round bracket. I don't need this print here. I don't need it. Okay, this is my alright, good to go. So I'm going to now run this guy, and then I have here, hello Joanne, I play basketball. So this is how I can still return, I can still return an individual statement I have inside what inside my created module. So this is how module works in Python. So we'll be going, talked about module, so we'll be talking about we're talking about date, right? Python date. So a date in Python is not a data on its own, but we can import a module. If you are you seeing now we are implementing the word module. So like we said, Python has a wide range of library, right? Whereby we can import to make our code easy to write and the rest of it. So Python has in its library a module called what data time. So we would import, we can't just work without importing this data time, this date time inside our file before working on Python dates. So whenever you want to work on a Python date, you have to what? You have to import the date time. So I'm going to now import the date time. I'm going to create here. I'm going to create here a file called my date dot py. Then I come here, I say import date time, right? I'm importing date time, and I would come here and assign a variable and say date equal to date time. I actually want to know the date time of today. Date time dot date time. I'm actually calling this guy dot date time again dot date time. So this date time takes in all these parameters. It takes in date time, takes in date, takes in maximum year, minimum year, time delta, time zone, and the rest of it. So I'm going to now call date time again, and then dot what again, dot now I want to get the date of today, because so then I would come here and then say py my date dot py. Sorry, I'm going to print it. Remember to always print in what, in Python, because it would not show if you don't what, if you don't print it. So I would print what, date. So if I come here and rerun my code, I would be having what, I'm having that today is what, today is 25th 25th. Let me clear this for more clarity. And today is what, okay, I'm going to seed inside my Python 2. Always try to seed inside Python 2 because I have two folders inside there. So I'm going to seed inside it and then call this guy here, call my date. So are you seeing this? We have today is 25th, we are in June, right, 2024, and this is the time 2 o'clock 9 minutes after 2. Then it's reading in, it has the seconds and then the minute, the distance, it has the minutes and then the milliseconds. So this is how it it's going to display what, our date for us in Python. So this is how we work with date in Python. So we can still access, if you want to access the year, you want to access the day, you can always access this. Um I can say here w, right, assign anything, say date time date time dot now, right, and then I would come here and say print. I would say print, I want to print the year. I would say print w what, dot year. I want to print out only the year. So w dot year. I'm going to now save this guy. So when I save it, let us see what it's going to display for us here. I'm going to run my code. I'll run my code. Sorry, I'll run my code. Date. cd python 2, then py my date. Then are you seeing this? We already had the date dot now, we now have the year. We can actually put month here. We would get, I'll duplicate it. Let me duplicate it so it can show us everything we have here. So we can have month here, we can have day here. So it's going to give us everything we want. So let me save this guy and rerun the code. I'm saving it and I'm running my code. So I'm having singly here, I'm having the year, I'm having the month, and I'm having the date. So you can actually work on that